Hi, I'm Dr. Anna Marie. We're here on Terra Verde talking insulation. We have a lot of questions. You know, what should you have, an unvented, a vented attic? That's why we asked Scott Sanders from Telefome to come on out, and we're doing the third step of the insulation process.
We are. We're glad to be back today. The first thing we did, Anna, if you recall, we injected all of your exterior block walls with Corfo 500 to insulate those up. Then we came out and we removed your existing bad insulation that had been here since the home was built. And what we're going to do today is we're going to be spraying Isoning, which is basically the benchmark of half-pound spray polyurethane insulations.
And we're using their latest and greatest.
We're using their newest product called LDR50, which is a very green castor oil-based product, and we're excited to be doing it here for you today.
Let's go check it out.
Let's do it.
There's a lot of insulation choices out there: soybean, castor oil, cellulose. The list goes on and on. How does a homeowner choose?
Well, as far as the difference between the insulation materials, we'll start with the soybean versus the castor oil-based material. Soybean, obviously, as most people know, is a food source. So by using that material in the insulation, we're actually taking away a food source. As far as for the castor bean goes, we can grow. You don't eat the material exactly, but we can grow it in more remote climates. We can grow it without pesticides, and we can grow it without water.
And plus, you get more, and you get more of the product out of it versus soy product.
When it's harvested, when the material is harvested out of the product, we get more out of it than the soybean does. So it's actually by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, it meets the requirements for a renewable resource product.
And how about the cellulose?
Well, as far as the cellulose and like blown-in or fiberglass blown-in insulations, basically those are going to have to be replaced over time. Because they start to compact on themselves, as soon as they start to compact, they start to lose their R value. So what you'll have to do is over a certain amount of time, you're going to have to go in and either blow in more of that insulation up in the attic. With the Isoning insulation, we apply it once and it's there for the life of the home. So one of the big things in green building is durability of a product. The durability of the Isoning is once it's in there for the life of the home.
How awesome is that?
It's great.
Vented attic, unvented attic. Steve, there's a lot of confusion out there. Please explain.
Well, before, what you had here was a traditional vented attic. In other words, you have a soffit vent and you have a ridge vent. The air moves into the attic. Unfortunately, the attic is a place where a lot of heat builds up. That's where your air conditioning system runs. So what you have is you have all of your ductwork running in 140-degree air. It doesn't run efficiently.
Mike, I understand you're the Isoning guru. What's the science behind this stuff? This is pretty...
Well, the science behind it and behind the unvented attic that we're doing here is that it addresses a lot of different scientific principles of physics. In other words, warm migrates toward cool, moist toward dry, and high pressure toward low pressure. And so when you seal this attic off the way that we're doing, Isoning is both an insulator and an air barrier, so we're stopping 99% of the air from flowing into your attic. Once we've done that, you now have an envelope of your building. You have your walls were insulated earlier, and now you have an insulated roof deck. So all of this airspace becomes one, as opposed to a vented attic where you have that warm, moist air flowing through the attic. So you no longer have a hot attic, you have a very cool attic. You have a very dry attic, so you don't have condensation issues. And you've actually now located your ducts in your air conditioning system in a very nice space, nicely cooled and conditioned space, versus a very hostile space where it would have been before with a vented attic, because the temperatures in that attic could be 150 degrees in the summer.
Since this is a healthy home project,
right,
what are some of the health benefits of Isoning?
It's a good question, because we're talking about green building, and that seems to be the focus these days. Well, green means that it needs to not harm you, and it needs to be energy efficient. And in the case of Isoning, we've talked about the energy efficiency, but it's good to know that there's no off-gassing, no volatile organic compounds come off of the material. In fact, I had an experience with an architect who was designing a house for a lady who had extreme allergies, and she actually had to walk around with one of these for a couple of days to make sure there were no reactions.
And how did it work out?
In her case, just fine. She has Isoning in her home.
Wow.
And it's been used in some projects that are well known, such as the American Lung Association's health homes.
Now, if you have any Greenovating questions, or you want to learn more about our project, log on to our show's website, YourLifeTV.com, and we'll be right back.
It's now time for this week's trivia. Do you know how many hours the average person dreams if he or she sleeps for about 7.5 hours? The answer when we come back.